most amazing people I've ever met in Seattle. A tremendous guy, committed to this cause, and just want to hear from him. Brad, why don't you jump on, and Rachel, if we can pin Brad and have him, let me see, maybe I can do it. And there you go, I did it. And have him share a little bit from his perspective.
Sure, thanks, Coach. I appreciate that. Great intro. I'm super happy to be here, super psyched that we're at this place right now to have this meeting. I think it's been a while coming. It's been a long time coming for us to get to this point, and it's a great point to be at. I know, a long time ago, a year ago or whenever it was, I was personally thinking about this quite a bit. I know other people on the leadership team were thinking about this quite a bit, had been thinking about it, and weren't sure what to do and how we wanted to move forward in sort of a DEI initiative or journey or whatever it is. And what we didn't want to do was sort of do a checkbox sort of situation or a training or something that was off the shelf. So we kind of felt like, oh, but we don't really know what to do. And it took us a while before we realized we just got to do some research and figure out somebody who can help us do that. And so we did. We looked around and talked to a few people and came across Coach here, which was very fortuitous. And I remember early conversation with Coach, and he said, and I said the same thing. I said, we've been thinking about this, but we don't really know what path we want to go down. I don't know what SRM needs or should do, but I want it to be SRM, related. I don't want it to be, this, like I said, off the shelf sort of solution or whatever it is. And what Coach said was, he said, well, that's perfect, because, the DEI is a journey, is what he said. He said, that's what it needs to be. And we just need to start walking down the path.
Yes.
There is no solution until, there should be no solution, should be no endpoint, should be a journey. And I thought, wow, now this is the guy we need to work with, because I like the way that takes the pressure off. And I don't like to have pressure on me. So that was good. And the other thing he said, and he'll probably say this again, is, this journey is and equity work is a heart issue. It's not a head issue. And that really resonated with me. I deal with a lot of head issues, but SRM in general is here because we deal with heart issues a lot, and what the work that we do. So that resonated as well in terms of the orientation of the work that Coach does. So I thought, well, great, let's go and let's see what happens. And we formed a leadership team. It was kind of an opt-in leadership team to take the initial steps. And we worked as a committee or a team or whatever you want to call it with Coach, meeting every other week or so. We had homework. We did a book study. We did some mini trainings, and that whole opportunity was kind of a growth opportunity for me, and I think for others would say the same thing. It was enlightening. It really showed in some ways what SRM really could do and what SRM needs. And I thought, well, now I can see a path forward. We're walking down the path, we're on the journey, and it just seems now we just need to keep walking and keep having things happen, which was great, and that's what's happening. Yeah. And the other thing, it was fun. We ended up having fun in this very serious work, which is just a plus at that point. Yeah. So, and out of that work then came the RAC. And now the RAC is sort of a solidified committee that will now drive this work forward and continue to walk down the path, steer us whichever way we need to go. And it'll continue to be a journey because we have this mechanism in place that will just continue us down that road. Mm-hmm. So that, I think, was a great product of the initial leadership committee. Not only did we get to learn a lot and have growth opportunities, but now we have this opportunity for SRM to learn a lot and have growth opportunities in general. And you'll hear from members of the RAC, including and especially Shayla, who early on raised her hand and said, I'd sure like to help out in this work, which I commend. And she jumped in, is now leading that committee, which is wonderful. And so this here, meeting, all staff meeting, training, whatever we want to call it. This part of our journey is coming out as the first product of the RAC. And so, just one step after another of this journey, and we'll see what happens that comes out of this meeting, right? And I'm really excited about that. So
thank you. So Dr. Letterie, I'm gonna see if I can pin you and have you share a few words. Thank you for taking the time, and really appreciate you. The interactions we've had have been wonderful as well. So thank you, sir.
Thanks, Coach D. I'm going to offer a few off-the-cuff comments, not only as a physician, but also just as a student. And I'll start off by just relating a couple of personal stories that have increased my interest in this. I grew up in an inner city area on the East Coast, and there was black and there was white. Never the twain shall meet. And this was at a time when terms that were used to describe either race were unspeakable in our current climate. And I was fortunate to have a good education, and got even more education in the military. And in the military, we had a relatively rudimentary racial awareness, is what it would be called now, about how to interact with different races. And it taught me a couple of things. What was lacking where I grew up was education and awareness. And what the solution to the problems we're now dealing with is education and awareness. And I think our efforts here, and certainly my own personal interest, is about learning how to address issues of race and bias and equity in thoughtful terms that embrace other people. And I think that's what we've been lacking. I mean, this is a very complicated problem, but in our little world of SRM, we have the opportunity to take some initiative and learn subtleties. I'm learning as I move forward and as I read. And this is very nuanced. And I'm a student of this, as I was in the past. But I think the way forward to learn more about the problem of racial equity awareness is to learn more. And we're fortunate to have Coach D, but also just an engaged and interested group of participants here at SRM that want to learn more. There's lots of reading to do, several great books. The environment now is so different than when I grew up or when I was in the military. It is so open, and hopefully this is going to lead to improvement in our understanding of one another.
Yes.
And Coach D, I love your approach. It's disarming. There's no edge to this. It's a broad field. Nothing's off the table.
That's right.
You can express it however you want. It's non-judgmental. And I think that's the way that we can move this ball down the field.
Yes, yes.
And thank you for the opportunity just to share a few thoughts and why I'm so interested in this area.
Man, that moved my heart, what you just shared. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And
yes, sir.
You nailed it when you said, education, you know what I mean, and awareness. And I think that has been lacking in many circles. There's been a lot of, saying what the problem is or saying what the challenges is, but how it is with people. If we can't communicate, if we can't have a decent conversation, how do we ever move the needle?